on what we want to eat, you know. Mm. Go ahead, Naya.
Turn it off. Okay. Well, okay. Good evening, Remnant. Welcome to the Wednesday outreach. Um, let's see.
Sounds
Today
good.
we're going to. I can hear just fine, right? Okay. So today we're going to. The name of our class is the Independent Woman, and um, yeah, I feel
You
like
got?
I'm
I did put you on the side. I'm
Yeah,
like, go,
yeah.
Naya. She's like, start? Yeah, okay. All praises to the Most High God. Thank you, Holy Ghost, for everything in Yahweh Shai's name. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Remnant Outreach. It is, as you can see, Ladies' Night, the Holy Remnant Ladies' Night, the original women, right? Um, we always appreciate. we always thank you, honey, for that. Um, we always like when you guys tune in. Um, we love going back and talking about, um, the indoctrination, the world, and the remnant woman life. There's a lot of women out there who are just looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. You're continuing to go through that vicious life cycle, just not having no answers and no information to get you up out of it. All you're getting is the another indoctrinated word from somebody else that or a friend who means well, but they're not helping you because they're just digging you right into the place that you're already in, or worse, right? And all the information they ever have is to help you leave a situation. And when you leave that situation, you just find yourself in a worse situation, right? I know we can all attest to going through that in the indoctrination because we don't have any answers, right? We don't know where to go. There's no information to help dig us out of the pit, right? And not knowing that the first start to that is the Most High God, right? So today's class, as Naya said, is called The Independent Woman. And anybody want to start off? Okay, Janet.
We don't have a mic, do
No, here, babe.
we? Juna.
Hi, everybody. So the independent woman, and I was thinking about this topic, and I was talking to Dee earlier, and I was saying how that it has been instilled in us, especially in the minority community, that being single is valuable. Right? You go to concerts, they yell out, "Where the single ladies at?" And all the single ladies say, "Woo!" Throw their hands out, and their man is sitting or standing right next to them, right? It is they want to be single for that moment, you know. And the music that we listen to, it glorifies to being an independent woman. I remember growing up, there was a song with Webby and Trina that was called Independent, right? And it was just like, yeah, I'm an independent woman. It just pumps you up to just live in that mindset of being a single independent woman, and you don't need a man to do nothing, and you could do better by yourself, right? It has been sold to us, and we buy it, eat it up, and we take it with us into our relationship. Even in this country, being single and having a fatherless home is rewarded with food stamps, WIC, welfare, Section 8. They sell us this dream that we could do it on our own, and we don't need to be married. We don't need a man, and we could just be single for the rest of our lives. We are made to believe that being submitted to our man, husband, we are devaluing ourselves. While a lot of women are stuck in the feminist movement, and that very same movement that has devalued the head of the household in the minority community by assigning the head of household to the person who makes the most money. And there are sometimes ladies that do make more money than their husband or their man. And so now they think that they run the house, where, in our culture here, we know that there is divine order. Ladies, what is that divine order? Can the remnant woman tell me what that is?
The Most High, the husband, the wife, the kids, and so on, the dog, the pet.
Exactly. We know that. But a lot of women out there, a lot of y'all out there do not know that. And, saying being submitted to your man, that is devaluing, yourself. You feel like that, but it's divine order from the Most High. How can you go against that? And then we look at Colossians 3:18. Wives, be subject to your husband out of respect for their position as protector and their accountability to God, as is proper and fitting in the Lord. I hope you guys have a protector standing in the gap between you and the enemy, ladies, because here we know we do. We know we do. Proverbs 12:4. A virtuous and excellent wife, worthy of honor, is the crown of her husband. Why wouldn't we want to be that for our men, our husbands, And just for our husbands to see us that way as well. But she who shames him with her foolishness, being that single woman, that independent woman mindset, is like rottenness in his bones. Most of the women these days can't even operate in their true power that the Most High intended you all to operate in, because you are too busy trying to compete with your man instead of completing the assignment the Most High has called you to. Women, we play a big role in peace in our home, or lack thereof. If your expectation is for him to do what he is supposed to do before you provide that peace, you're out of bounds, because that means you are only doing for him instead of doing what the Most High has called you to do. Right? And then Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, whatever your task may be, work from the soul. That is, put in your very best effort as something done for the Lord, for the Most High, and not for men, knowing with all certainty that it is from the Lord, not from men, that you will receive the inheritance, which is your greatest reward. It is the Most High whom you actually serve. So when you think of being submitted and obedient to your man or your husband, you're actually being submitted and obedient to the Most High. And you say you believe in God, you say you believe in the Most High, but do you really? Are you really showing that with your actions? The same goes for men too. If you're just sitting around saying, well, if the woman would have done better, if the woman would have been doing this, I would have gave her the world. Yeah, okay, you're out of bounds. Because what you're saying is that in order for you to be a man, the woman has to be a woman. Where is the order? So is it the Most High then woman for you? Because I thought it was, or I know it is, the Most High man, woman, child. So, all that crying everyone does, jockeying for position in the household, the Most High already put us in the position. We are phenomenal when we are operating in our roles. And then it's just, let me finish up here saying, y'all can keep buying the garbage the enemy sells you. my covering for an eternity through submission and obedience to my God, then my head of household. You know, call me crazy, but I like, love, and appreciate God's order. And yes, I've also operated in that independent woman mindset, single lady mindset, even while being in a relationship. And that does hinder the relationship. That does make it breaks away from the order. And it's either I operate in that order, in my submission and obedience to the Most High first, or I'm just move out the way and not be in here no more because I can't handle the order. And that is not going to happen. And so you have to know that. You have to fix that, ladies. You know, it's hard when it's been instilled in us for so long from the day that we were born. You know, especially if you grow up in a household where it's only women running and calling the shots. You know, even if there is a male in the family or a father in the family and the mother is the only one saying, do this, 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 or they make the most money so they can say what to do and when to do it. It's hard. But here in the remnant, there's relief. And that might be part of your salting right now that you have to go through. You know, I had to go through it too. And I'm here. All praises.
So I wanted to talk about the independent woman to me, in my personal experience, is knowing who I was before this information, where I felt like I was an independent woman, and what that really means. It means an independent woman to me means a woman with no self-control, a woman who feels like she is self-reliant, and a woman who is on her own. And like you said, it is, to me, it's a horrible place to be in, because it's the indoctrination, because it teaches you, even if you feel like you're self-reliant, you have zero money, zero help, zero anything, you still feel like you're an independent woman. That is just a straight lie from the pits of hell, right? That the indoctrination has taught us that even when you have nothing and nobody, that you're an independent woman. That is just to me, it's the biggest lie, and it's one of the biggest deceptions in why our women are single today. Because before I met my husband, I was that woman. I had somebody in my life who I felt like, I'm this single, independent, powerful woman in my own right. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to do what you say. I don't need nothing from you. And I'm broke, right? It's like, I never asked anybody that I was with for anything, right? Never did I ask anybody for anything. And I thought that was powerful, right? But it was actually weak, because you're over here living with this person or being with this person. You're giving them everything you have to offer them at the time, but yet you don't want to expect nothing in return. And the expectation in return is supposed to be normal, right? That's why when my husband came and he said, all I want is a woman who would listen to me and do what I say, I knew where it was coming from. It was coming from a place of a person who I knew I can give my all trust to, right? It was coming from somebody that I could believe in, that I could have faith in, that I could trust. When you said that earlier, I think coming from an indoctrinated person who's showing up one way and that's not their life, then if he says, all I want is a woman who will do this, yeah, you're not getting that, partner, because you're not showing up like that. So of course you're going to be like, no. It wasn't even a question when my husband showed up, because there was a night and day difference. And because I had been in the indoctrination for 27 years when I met him, I knew what the truth looked like. I didn't have to sit around and wait for him to show me something. Right off the bat, the difference was made, right? So when he made that comment, I was so ready and prepared because I had never seen that before. And I was like, I'm gone. Because this man I could trust, I can believe, because this man done sat up here and told me stuff that most men would usually hide, right? And he is unveiling to me his business. And we just met. We had been seeing each other, for a whole week? They're talking. Well, we talked for a week before that, but when he came to my house, when we really got time to spend time together and really like talk about other things and get to know each other on another level, then that was different because the man was showing up, because we was just talking about this. And mind you, he was coming out of the game and he had Miko, right? So it was like him showing up, him being honest with her, him being honest with me, allowed me to understand the distinction between indoctrination in this man of the Most High God, only because of the honesty and truth and how he showed up. And then I never saw that change. I never saw that change. So that not changing, as we was talking about today, allowed me to be in this place that I'm at today, right? Being able to see and recognize what an independent woman looks like, right? It's like when you look at social media, I always say something is missing with these people. You can look at a girl, she can look like she has the world, she traveling everywhere, she doing everything, but what is she also doing? Her package is being given up to whatever, because she living the single life. So she feels like she doesn't need a man, which a man is what she really needs. She may not want one, but it's what she needs, right? And so then they got money, they can get buy whatever they want. They don't need a man to buy them anything, but they don't understand that something's missing there. Because what? There's no control, because she's independent, right? There's no self-control. There's the independence. I'm by myself. I can do everything by myself, but you can't do everything by yourself, because that very thing that you need is the thing that you're missing. When he came and the Most High said, and he didn't give me what he got. He gave me what I wanted, but I didn't know he gave me what I needed. Because if I didn't get what I needed, I wouldn't be here today, right? So that independent mindset keeps you locked in to a place where you don't allow yourself to see vision, right? And you can't see nothing past what your surroundings have taught you for however many years you've been here on this earth, right? And then you have to go back and say, okay, these are the things I allowed in my life when I was independent. I was set. I didn't let nobody tell me what to do. That I think now that I come to think about it, in the indoctrination, that was a good thing, right? Because if I would have given myself like I did to my husband, I really probably wouldn't be here today, right? Because I gave enough, right? I gave all I had to give at the time, right? Which was everything to me, right? So then I didn't know until he came that I had more to give. I didn't know that, right? Because there's women out there today who's living the so-called independent life, and they don't know. They're thinking they have more to give, but they don't. They're not understanding that they're giving away already everything they have to give, right? But it's going to take somebody like that to bring out the understanding of you living this indoctrinated, independent mindset of no self-control, right? And you want to be independent. That means you really want to be by yourself, because that's what independent means. It means you want to be by yourself and you could do everything yourself and you don't need nobody else. I wish to this day in my past relationships that I didn't have that mindset, because it kept me broke, right? It kept me in a place where I felt like I was being strong by not accepting anything from anybody, but it was really a weakness to me, right? And I did not realize that, because, like I said, I was giving away everything that I had, but I wasn't accepting anything, right? So that mindset right there can leave you in a very terrible place, especially coming into remnant, and you carry that indoctrination with you into your new relationships or into the relationship with the Most High. And then you're bringing that, I'm independent, I don't have no self-control. And that's, like you said, where the salting begins, because your salting is going to be hard according to how the indoctrination has created you to be the independent woman. The Most High gave my husband a dream one time and said, had I established myself, had I maybe went to college and became something that I thought where I had been, got to a place where I had achieved my goals, then I would have never been able to hear him, right? So I had to be in a place that was a broken place for me. Everybody's broken place is different. So my broken place was being at a place where I was broken and tired of dealing with the males in the indoctrination and really being able to see a man. Because I believed also that had achieved something, that I would have never been able to see the man, because remember, I was just a girl, right? The girl had already visualized and been with males, but she was able to see a man, something that she'd never seen before, even with my own father. So it's like, in the indoctrination, the cycles are just recurrent and they're hereditary, and you're just coming up and you're witnessing the same things. And sometimes you are just built from the things that you've lived through and the things that you've seen, because it's the only thing that you know, right? So when I was able to see something different in the indoctrination, it enabled me to immediately come out of the independent woman mindset, right? It immediately brought me out of that, because I was able to witness something totally different outside of the indoctrination of an independent woman, right? Even in being broke, poor, not having nothing and everything, independent woman doesn't mean that you could be an internet sensation and you have the money and everything. Independent mindset is with broke women too. It's with women on welfare, women with children with no man. All women, the women in the indoctrination today have that weak, independent woman mindset, right? And they don't understand that it's keeping them from their greatness. It's keeping them from being able to see, because sometimes you could be so far in it that if you don't have any spiritual inclination or any God, mindset or a belief in God, you won't be able to see the man when he comes, right? Because you won't feel like you deserve it. My husband said something powerful. We talked about it the other day, is that you only will receive what you feel like you deserve. You'll only accept what you feel like you deserve. So in the indoctrination, I was there accepting males that I felt like I deserved because of where I felt like I was at, right? So when someone came along and seen something in me, in this so-called independent woman, right, who's not going to let nobody tell her what to do, with no self-control and everything else going on, I was able to see somebody who can actually give me the information I needed to come up out of the independent woman mindset, right? All the anger and all the things that you carry with you, the patience he had, all the stuff that he had to be able to raise me up and sacrifice to give me this information to be where I'm at today, right? Coming up out of that independent woman mindset. And I know I think all of us, dang near all of us on this panel today, have men in the remnant who've done the very same thing, where they were able to see that I don't have to keep this independent woman mindset because I'm not independent anymore, right? Because you become a wife and you become a partner, right? But then even when you don't have a husband, then you could still say, I'm learning to come up out of that independent woman mindset, of being out, of doing this, or doing that, or lending myself to places and things that's not conducive to my spirit, right? So, yeah, I'm going to let somebody else talk, but, just that independent mindset is very strong, because it's one of the things when we come from the indoctrination in the world and assimilation of indoctrination, when we come to the remnant and we come to the Most High God, that is one of the biggest things that he has to sort out of us. You know, it's that independent woman mindset in remembering that you're not by yourself. You don't have to be by yourself, because if you have a remnant man, you sure don't have to be by yourself. But it's gonna be a salting process, and everybody's process is different. Some people might not have a struggle, and some people may. It just depends on where you at, how long you've been in it, whatever, what you've been through. It just depends, right? Next. Yes.
So first I wanted to talk about what the word independent actually means. And it means to be separate, not influenced, controlled, or supported by another. The Most High never spoke against strong women, because strong and independent, they're not the same. But the indoctrination will teach you that strong and independent are synonymous with each other. The Proverbs 31 woman is described as clothed with strength and dignity. That's not on accident. Remnant women are strong, but their strength is submitted. It's different than what the indoctrination calls strong. In the indoctrination, strong is being able to do what you want when you want without consulting or being influenced or controlled by anything. There was a situation when we were in Houston where there was something I wanted so badly to do. And I was in a mindset where I was like, I just want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. And I sat down and I talked with Dre, and Dre was like, well, do you want what you want, or you want what the Most High called you here to do? Because you have to make sure that you're operating always in a way that's glorifying to the Most High, because that's what I said I wanted. So that's what he's holding me accountable to. And so in that, the conversation was, how long are you going to be focused on what you want? How long are you going to cry about what you want? That's what you said. How long are you going to cry about what you want? And I said, today. He said, okay, well, I'm going to get at you tomorrow. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And so that's how that ended. But for me, the strength wasn't the problem. It wasn't the issue. It was the alignment that was the problem. So the independent woman often becomes strong through survival. She learns to carry her own burdens. She learns to carry the weight of everything. She becomes capable, but often she grows weary in that. But the remnant woman, she doesn't lose her strength. What she does is she finds rest. So there's a difference in how you operate when you're in the indoctrination for when you're in the information. The information shows you that it's okay to rest and be still, while the indoctrination tells you move, 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 do. And it's like you can outrun or outmaneuver what the dependence is supposed to be on the Most High. So a remnant, an indoctrinated woman will move and operate the way that she does without regard for anyone or anything else. A remnant woman is strong, but her strength is aligned with the Most High. And she's capable, but yielded. So she can carry everything. She just chooses not to carry everything. She carries what the Most High gives her and has her hands open to receive what he gives to her to hold on to and to carry. And that's the weight and no more that a remnant woman will carry. In the indoctrination, a woman will carry everything, even the things that weren't even placed in her hands. She'll pick it up. She sees you set it down. Let me pick that up. She sees you set it down. Let me pick that up. And you become so strong, so independent in that, but you're exhausted. You're tired. You're bitter. And for me, we don't lose the strength. It's not that you lose the strength when you realize that you're a remnant woman. When you find out who you are, you don't lose the strength. You just submit your strength to the Most High and what he has for you. So the opposite of independent is dependent, right? And so dependent means determined or conditioned by another. So for me, when I looked at that, I thought about how beautiful it is to have your outcome be contingent on the plans of the Most High and not attached to controlling the outcome of them. Why on earth would you ever want to be independent when you can be still in the plans of the Most High? And the history book tells you that the plans of the Most High are to prosper and to not harm you. So for me, I'm going to pick the dependent. You can have the independent and go ahead and do what you want with it. But for me, I'm going to serve the Most High, and I'm going to be dependent on him, because when I depend on him and I align myself and be still in his plans, the outcome don't got nothing to do with me. It's whatever he wants, however he wants, whenever, whatever, wherever that looks like. And so that for me is the beauty in the information. You get to rest because it's okay over here.
That's powerful.
Okay.
You can go after.
Okay. So I also wanted to start off with this definition of being independent, right? It means relying on yourself for decisions, actions, and happiness, characterized by self-reliance, freedom, and responsibility. And when I think about that, and just thinking about this class, it's something that conversations that I've had with my husband a few times where I would operate a certain kind of way, take it upon myself to do something, and he would tell me you're operating with a single woman mindset, right? And it made me think about something you were talking about, Deb, as far as being in a relationship and you're giving everything to this person and you're not asking for anything, right? And it made me think about how I would see that within back in indoctrination in my household, seeing that generational curse, the way of the world, of how in the world, in the indoctrination, they push a hard line of that independent woman, right? And how important it is to be that, and that lacking trust in your partner, pretty much, right? And it's like this thing of, just in case you can't handle this, I'm gonna take it upon myself to do this and that, right? That independent woman mindset. And when I would think about how I was operating in the indoctrination and things that I would pick up on, seeing how my stepmother would operate with my dad, right? She would operate the same way. She was with that, her mom would be the one that's like, she's married, but she's calling the shots in the household, right? Having that independent woman mindset, that single woman mindset, not allowing her husband, not aligning herself with her husband, and just making all the decisions, right? Wanting her own, relying on her own happiness, etc. And it's like, with me, I would see that with, my stepsister, how she would be in a relationship, have a whole kid by somebody, but she would still go to her mom before she would go to the father of her child, right? And I will operate the same way, where I will be in this relationship giving everything and not asking whoever I'm with. I wouldn't go to that person first. I would go to, even if it's like finances or whatever, right? I would go to my stepmom before I would go to whoever I was dealing with, giving everything to, right? And it's just a lot of that in the indoctrination, to where it's normalized, of as if it's like you're giving this person, you're taking weight off this person. You're doing this person a favor by, I'm gonna do all of this for you, but I'm not gonna bother you with this or that.
And I realized more so, not to, I want to put this in there. Like, to me, it was more so, I'm not gonna make you think I need you. That was my mindset. My mindset was, I'm not gonna make him think I need him like that. Like, I don't need you, but
and that was my thing. When we were talking, me and my husband last night, how I felt in every situation I was in. I felt like I wanted some kind of control over it. I didn't want to be too submissive, or show too much of like this soft side of me, right? If like I'm just here, like, I'm giving you this and that, but I'm not going to depend on you too much, right? But it's like you already didn't take it too far, and you're doing everything, right? All kind of positions, everything, right? just out there, So it's like, yeah. So just when I think about that, and right before you said something, yes, let me just go here in my notes real quick. Let me see. Okay, so I left off talking about,
You seen your stepsister doing.
yeah, and then I went into my personal experience of how it was like that generational thing of it is just going from grandmother to mother to daughter and so on, right? And yeah, and just how I was just operating in that, right? And feeling like it would, like a few of us said, is like feeling some kind of power in that, right? And and even it's just social media, everything, right? And to just think about just being here in our culture, right? And it's like having our relationship with the Most High, right? And coming from that indoctrination of being standing so strong on that independent walking, taking this walk alone, and not feeling like I need anybody, or being my own leader, all of that, right? And it's this, let me see, Proverbs 3, 5, and 1. No, 3 from 5 to 6. Trust in and rely confidently on the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. In all your ways, know and acknowledge and recognize Him, and He will make your path straight and smooth, removing obstacles that block your way, right? Making your crooked path straight. And here, like I was saying, having our own personal relationship with the Most High, and having to align ourselves under Him, right? Trusting in His leadership, right? And just giving everything to Him, right? And even in that, starting off with that first, even before my marriage, before receiving my husband, it's like there's not even independence in that, right? There's no independence in that partnership with your God, right? Because if you're going back into that space of the indoctrination of 1 minute you trust Him, you walk in, you doing all of these things, walking smoothly before Him, and then you go back to that person, you basically fall off of what's required of you in that partnership, right? It's like you're just you just all over the path, right? You're not. It's like it's just all over the place. And even with that, it's having that first, recognizing that, and then to be in my marriage and to have to staying on top of that, right? Because there's been a few times where I might have felt the need to have a conversation or say something, or tell me don't say this, and I will say that, right? Just doing the complete opposite of what He told me to do, going and not even knowing that I went back to that yesterday person, right? That person of, instead of me listening, instead of me aligning myself with my husband, it's like I went back to that yesterday person, like, okay, what would you do in this situation, right? Relying on that kind of thing of where it's like, how can I word it? It's like I would say with me, it's like knowing what to do, but just doing what you want to do in that moment because of how you feel, right? It might feel like, well, I think it'd be better to go about it this way or that way, right? Going back to relying that self-reliance, right? Relying on yourself of what you think things should be done. Cutting him out the picture of, well, I'm gonna do what I think needs to be done, right? And you just um you fall off of that alignment with your husband, that oneness, because the two should become one, right? And when you operate in a way to where you think that his opinion or his leadership isn't um it's like the moment you do anything other than that, it's like you're questioning his leadership, right? And at times I would think that I would be doing a favor or helping, and I would be doing a complete opposite, right? I'm really showing that I went from trusting to not trusting, right? Again, questioning my husband and his leadership, right? Knowing that who my husband is, I know he's the Most High's best man, right? And I know that even in the scripture that I just read in Proverbs, the same way I feel about the Most High, right? What it says here, to rely confidently on the Lord with all your heart and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. I know that I look at my husband that same way, right? I can look at him in that same way. I can trust him and confidently rely on him with all my heart, because I know that he won't lead me wrong, and that's what all the remnant women should feel, but having a remnant man, right? Because it's like what Tanya was saying, we're not in the space where we're independent, right? We don't have to be in the space of doing, right? It's like what the Most High said, we're here to be, not to do, right? So now we can be in a space where we can not just relax and just sit on our hands, but not be in a space where all the destruction of what comes with that independent life, right? And we can depend on our husbands, we can depend on our God, and keep a steady mind with that. So that's what I want to end with so far. Okay. Yes.
You just give me a name by the Holy Ghost?
That's me.
I've never heard that. That's the Lord's best man. I was like, I'll accept that.
Remnant, good evening. So, the single woman mindset curse. I've been transparent about my upbringing and how my father was there, but his absence of being a man and a leader, and how that created a disposition within me of being very hyper independent, of creating that like maverick spirit within me, to where I felt like I needed no one, especially let alone a man. Like I could do this all by myself. And then witnessing like my mom, run the household too, and she got it. So if she got it, I could do it too. Like there was no headship there for me to follow, and then that headship falling upon my mother is something that was then instilled within me. So seeing that, through the years, I was just very hardened. I didn't really accept help. I always figured it out, on top of me also being the eldest too. So in combination with that, it's like I had to figure everything out. I already knew my mom had a lot on her plate, so let me figure out what I can for myself and my brothers. So creating that within me. And then I remember Key coming along, and he asked me, he was like, this is when I first got my first spot, and I had just got like my bed, And he's like, oh, like I could come over and help you. I'm like, oh, babe, I already did it. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Like, even things like that I was taking care of. So the Most High, you know, getting me and breaking me to that point, and then the relief of receiving a remnant man, and how, like, what the ladies are saying, like, that ease and that comfort you have, it's like you're on cruise control over here. Like, yes, we do have a position to play. You know, we have to be excellent in our partnership with our husband and the Most High. That's expected, especially with this blessing coming. We can't just be resting on our laurels, right? So making sure that our household is taken care of, that we're submitted and obedient first to the Most High and also to our husband, but knowing that as long as we are submitted to the Most High, it will also be pleasing to our husband. So I wanted to read a scripture. Oh, 2 seconds. Where did it just go? Bear with me 1 moment. Okay. So it's Titus 2:4. So that we may encourage the young women to tenderly love their husbands and their children, to be sensible, pure makers of a home where the Most High is honored, good-natured, being subject to their own husbands, so that the word of the Most High will not be dishonored. And that's all I have for you this evening.
Good evening, everybody. So when we were discussing the topic earlier in the week, Tanya had said, where are the independent women? Do we even know any? And as much as I would love to be able to respond, no, that's not the truth. And even listening so far, again, as much as I would like to say that I haven't operated that way or I don't operate that way, it's also not the truth, because this just came up last week. And as I was sitting, listening, there was a couple of ways I was going to go in the beginning, but I had to realize that I identified what it is, and it's been deep rooted in me since I was little. And it's continuously been shown to me, and it's the money, it's the surviving, it's the paycheck to paycheck mindset, it's the trap to trap mindset, living in a scarcity where I got to make something happen, I got to make something shake, I got to figure this out. And I have stressed myself, been very weary for a long time. And the lifestyle that my husband and I were in, there are levels that happen where you're getting this money, you're going out there. It's not like he's standing there holding your hand the whole time, breaking down the door if something happens. Like, no, you are equipped to handle yourself with the information that's given, with your own intuition, and you're expected to handle those things when you are 1,000 miles away from anybody that you know, so that's already there. And I've operated that way of feeling alone or feeling like I got it. But it comes down to a bigger thing where, rent's got to be paid, this has got to be paid, I got to make it happen. I can't just sit on my hands and just wait for it to come together because nobody's going to step in and just do it. I got to do it. And I've always felt that responsibility. And we know that everything has purpose. So as a kid growing up with my mom, we would be paycheck to paycheck. There was no talk about any kind of savings or building or anything. It was scarcity mindset. And as soon as money came in, things are already owed. So by the time you even get the check, half of it's gone, and then the other half is gone in a couple days. So I would have that okay, I gotta make something work. I gotta sell this. I gotta do this. I gotta just thinking of creative ways to bring that money in so that we could somehow get out of that cycle. But we never did. And that continued on into adulthood. And of course, the Most High allowed me to be in a certain lifestyle where I am bringing in the money. But that had to be salted out of me, and it's still continuing to be a part of my test because I'm now also in a position of having a stable job with, a steady paycheck, and I have a list of our bills that I'm checking dang near every day because I'm so worried I'm going to miss something, or I feel that responsibility to take care of it and handle it. And
Working with the need instead of without.
yeah.
I think that's different. I think you're putting the two together. You're saying that that's an independent woman mindset, but when you were in the game, you guys were still working together. You were not independent, right? So you thought you were independent because you were separating the work. That was your problem. And right now you're
Separating the work
because
from
you were
him.
feeling like I'm doing the work.
Yeah.
He's not. And you were looking at yourself as being independent when you really had him because he was actually the one who was helping you keep yourself afloat.
With the information. So that's why a lot of women, females in that particular lifestyle, there's parts where you think, oh, I can do it by myself. Or I continuously check myself to remind myself where I came from and where I am now with that information.
And you would
Yeah.
have really felt like you was by yourself, but you were not. That's what you were thinking.
Right.
But there's other people like myself, which I knew I was by myself because there was no help. And I felt like I should not have to ask for help. That's where my mind was at. We together, I should not have to ask you or need anything. That's where my mind was at. And if I have to ask, then I'm not going to do it. Then I don't even want it. Right?
Yeah.
But in that lifestyle, it's a together thing. It's a we thing. But everybody don't feel the same as you. I understand that part. Because you were looking at it like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do that. That was you, right? And now you do the same thing when you don't have to, right?
Well, I'm realizing that rest and that trusting in your husband and trusting in that, but it's bigger than that, where that shouldn't even be a question because what the Most High is continuously trying to show me and get me to get through my head is that I need to be trusting in him. And that every single time down to the last minute, he always came through. The Most High came through.
Let me say
I
something.
think it's something
Let me say something.
between
Yeah,
not the Most High.
Let
Yeah.
me say this, and you can repeat it if you want, because they probably can't hear me.
Yeah.
As long as you were with greatness, you was never independent.
Right.
You was under instruction.
Right.
How are you independent when you're up underneath instruction? Every woman I've ever had felt she needed to go make it happen, but she was under instruction. So everyone had that go-getter disposition, but she was under instruction though.
Right.
You can't separate that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't,
Yeah.
That's why I was saying. And when you get to that point of feeling like that, then it's going to be a separation, and you're separating, and you two become distant because that's how you're feeling. Right. And I know we've talked a long time ago, and I know where your heart was at, but it's like I could see how, and I understand women, we have that mindset of we need to, this need to be taken care of, that need to be taken care of. That's just in us by nature.
Yeah.
Like we gonna take care of everything. Just like you were saying, I could build this, I could do that. I'm the same way. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna handle. I got it. No, I got it. Just and
How long we been together?
28 years.
Are you the same way today?
Yeah.
Just the same way.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But I think you not giving yourself credence as to who you are. And we were just talking about this, me and my husband this morning, like me not giving myself credence as to questioning who I am in the Most High, it's going to create a problem, because then you don't believe. You don't believe who you are, right?
In what way?
In the Most High,
Like,
because you're questioning, right? You're questioning your husband, you're questioning your relationship with the Most High. It's the trust factor, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and then what happens is when you don't trust, things start becoming awkward. They start, you're not flowing, you falling, you worrying, and all these things, doubt, worry, fear, that don't have nothing to do with the Most High, that start creating rifts with you and the Most High and your husband, right? And so, and it's too, because I said, hold on. I know who I am. You got to know who you are. Those things are natural for a woman to say this, that, and the other. It's not natural for you to go against your husband and say, well, we got to do this and this got to happen and that got to happen. That's his responsibility, unless he gives it to you. Unless he say, Cassie, this is your job. Like when he gave you instruction, right?
Right.
Because it comes from your husband.
And when we had the assignment class, that hit me too, that this is part of my assignment,
Right.
is to be doing the work that I'm doing, taking care of this, and continuing to grow in this information. And
Question.
that's
In your assignment, who's first?
the Most High is first.
In your assignment, who's first? Whose wife
What?
are you?
My husband. So he's first in the, well, yes.
The Most High
I said it
comes
was
first
part of my
regardless
assignment.
in your
Right.
life.
My relationship with the Most High, me as a wife is part of, so there were several assignments that I'm on.
Your assignment,
But there was
who
clarity
were you
in that.
assigned
To my husband. Yes. But and I thought that, because there isn't any issue, like he's the financial, all of that, like I don't have a problem, because I'm like, what do you mean? Money wasn't even a thing. I know where we came from. I know where I came from. So that wasn't even a thought. But I saw something in me, because my job, my bonuses are getting smaller because we had a flood and all this stuff. So I was like, I had brought it up to him a couple times, like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, things have been smooth, but like things are I'm not going to be receiving what I was receiving before. And he's like, why do you keep telling me that? I'm like, because you don't know, like, I'm just trying to let you know in case I can't make it happen or something. Like, we're living cool and comfortable. But it was like that, not putting my faith in the Most High. And we were going to Houston, and that needed to be taken care of. Last week, it was his birthday, and I got him some things, and money was tight. But I wanted to be able, I'm like, what do you mean I got it? This is what I want to do for him, and that's what I'm going to do. And he asked me, why didn't you ask for help from somebody? Why didn't you ask the remnant for help? And I'm like, dang, that didn't even come in my mind. There wasn't even a thought of that. It was like, no, this is what I'm going to do for him. And so then, but I was
What I
just,
see is that you put yourself right back in the space that you don't like to be in. Because if you ask me if money is tight, then my husband knows money is tight, and we gonna tight it out together.
but we don't do tight. We don't tighten it out. That's
but that was your problem.
yeah,
You went and spent that money,
right.
and you wanted to buy birthday presents
Mm-hmm.
when you knew money was tight.
But I know I'm still gonna make it happen. But that is
But
putting
you
it on to
stressing over
me,
making it happen.
stressing rather than doing what I'm supposed to do and having faith
You weren't
in that.
accountable.
Yeah.
To yourself.
But
because then you created an issue because your stressing is gonna stress him. Because now you went and did some things when y'all really could have did without the things for right now. Because things, remember, can come at any point. You put the things above him, the Most High, and everything, and trusting that in due time we could do that. But right now we got to ride it out. And instead of me taking my place, because you got to know yourself. Cassie, if you do this, you're going to stress out and you know this ain't going right. So then you're going to bring this back. And now you're going back into the indoctrination because you made things bigger than everything. Right? And there you go, feeling like if I don't buy my husband something for Christmas, birthday, Valentine's Day, whatever, then I'm feeling like what? He don't love you?
No, it was something that he needed. And I don't think that he felt that of like
he didn't need it. You felt like he needed it.
And just because you can do it don't mean you're supposed to do it.
Yeah. His phone was broken, right? I got him a phone. He's been talking about, so, but that's when like, no, we're cool, I get paid today. So it's like, we're good, but I'm continuously putting myself in that space of being weary, worn out, tired, stressed.
You just said what I just said.
Yeah.
So why do you keep
when it's not that I'm putting it on him, but
you
ultimately
did it in the game, and you're doing it now.
Yeah.
So why do you keep doing that? Because you're bringing the independent woman indoctrination. So the independent woman means I don't care, I'm going to do this. Do what I want. Even though I know I'm going to put this strain not just on you, on him, I'm going to do it anyway. That's like if my husband tell me not to do something with him. He tell me don't spend too much, I go do it anyway. I be in trouble. And then I'm putting the strain because I know he handles everything. Now you putting the strain on yourself because you know what you're going to have to go through while a phone is not cheap.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like you're going to buy a little $20, $30 object. You're buying a phone. So it's like now the stress is going to be on you. You just said bonuses wasn't this. You stressing them out with that. And it's just, you just adding extra stress to yourself and your relationship when you don't have to. You could have said, oh, when the bonuses come up, when we do whatever, we could work together to get you a phone. Where it's not going to stress you out. It could have been another time. It didn't have to be right now.
Let it stress her butt out.
No.
No, let it listen.
You're gonna go through, put yourself through it.
The way the transgressor is going, the whole thing is that you're going to have to quit crying. You can't cry your way through this. You're going to line up and do what the Most High wants you to do, or you're going to get drugged. Period.
So my husband said, you either going to line yourself up or you going to get drugged, which is what happens. And it be self-inflicted. I know. It be self-inflicted.
Yeah, so the Most High ain't trying to, what he's not going to do is make a deal with you. He ain't going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to do it his way, or you're going to get drugged until you do. Period. So that's the life you want to live. You've been in this information long enough. I'm going to tell you straight. I'm not about to sugarcoat nothing. Listen, you're going to do it the Most High's way or prepare to get drugged. Yeah. All them excuses, that don't mean nothing. Right? You're going to get drugged. You're going to get drugged to line up or drugged to leave.
And I also feel like it's a part of entrusting you with future things, that you know what you can and cannot do, and what this does if you do that, and what this does if you don't. It's entrusting. So Cassie, what can I entrust you with? I know that if it was finances, you have your own bakery, you know, you just can't compromise and do this, that, and the other when you know doing this might lead to this.
Yeah,
right?
You can do what you want to do. Just prepare for the consequences.
Yeah, you will
Sure.
have
I'm
to
not going to
prepare.
tell you what you can't do.
This is
You go. I tell people all the time, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and do what you want to do.
mhm.
This is not a place that you can do what you want to do. I have an old saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
He said they have an old saying, you guys, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Most
You don't think
definitely.
I talk
Mhm.
to this day, will talk to Doug and Naya like that?
Mhm.
Listen, you know, you will make the choice whether you want to be here or not. It ain't about you. It ain't about me. It's about him. One thing I did say when I was in the game to the people who was with me, I don't want you to love me. Love the game. I love the game. And we both gonna win. Everybody is loving this information, this game at that time.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you love it, I love it, we'll love each other. It's the same principle with the Most High. Right? We love and elevate this information. All the rest is just a bunch of excuses. God is not about to let you out reason him. He will wait for 40 years and keep you there.
Yeah.
You can't outweigh him. He will let you die in your misery because he lets billions of people do it to this day. You can't cry your way out of it. I tried it before, trust me. You can't talk your way out of it. You are going to line up to the Most High God or not. That's who he is. Them Christians, they got a lily, this God with feathers or whatever. No. One thing this God I can tell you don't do is compromise what he expects. You give it to him or you don't. He ain't tripping. You don't got to.
Right.
But there are consequences either way. Right?
Yeah.
If you're in this information, the salt is going to get out of you, what makes you in opposition against him. That is for your good.
It is.
If you're out of this information, the way of the transgressor is hard. There's no help. You want to be independent? Yeah. Operate like the way of the transgressor. Excuse me. The way of the transgressor, because that's independent.
Yeah.
That's independent. I'm just saying. You dealt with this situation for a minute. And you keep letting yourself off the hook. I don't care what happened in your family. I've got things that happen in my family, and everybody that has things. I don't care. You are here now. The Most High is identifying you as a remnant woman, and that's who he's pulling it from. He's not pulling from the person from the past. He don't know that person.
Yeah.
He know you. And you have to decide if you're going to yield. He ain't going to force you. It'll be something that you will to do. I willingly submit. I don't got to understand everything, and everything don't got to feel good. But what I won't do is like I told Doug this morning. The difference between me and many, many people. Do you remember what I told you this morning about the difference between being in a situation that you don't like? Right? I said, there have been times that you've been in situations that you don't like, Doug. And there's been times I've been in situations that I don't like. But you know the difference? I never like what I dislike to make me change on him.
To change your disposition, right?
You've allowed things coming up through the 30 almost years to make you change on me. To the point that some of the things that you dislike made you blame me. See, I never blame God for my dislikes. I believe God through my dislikes.
Yeah.
I want to say something that D tells me all the time. So he just told me this not too long ago, where you keep reaching back to the old you, right? Then you do something that you've done before, and then she leaves you to hang.
Yeah.
And then now your head's on the cutting board, right? And then it's just like, where were you, right? Instead of just letting that old you die off and not having her come back over and over again and leaving you to hang, right? Fend for yourself, basically. So it's just recognizing that. And when it's happening at that moment, like, oh, I'm doing it again. Get away from me. Go away. You're not welcome here anymore. You know, and I know you have that in you. I know you can do it. I know you could recognize it, you know? So it's just seeing it before it happens and just trusting the Most High.
I got something I wanted to. Oh, you want to?
I got one thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Because when we first moved to Washington, we were in our other spot. The Most High like showed me what it could be or what it will be. And I think that's beautiful, and I keep pulling back to that. So I think that the space that I'm in now is like, that's where I want to be, but I'm here. And
You keep
because
making the choice to do that. You know what my little daughter said this morning? My husband asked her, Nunu, why did you do that? She said, because I wanted to.
mm-hmm.
She's 6 years old. She said, because I wanted to. She's taught to tell the truth about why you did something. If you didn't want to do it, you wouldn't have did it. So you keep not taking accountability to move forward. You want to stay that person because you keep not telling yourself, because that's what you wanted to do, right? I did it because I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever the reason, it don't matter. Take accountability and look at it, because that's what the enemy wants, to continue to make you feel like that's who you are.
Well, I was talking about, because I was just at the house, I was in the most comfortable, relaxed space I've been in my whole life. Been able to just get up when I want, bake, do what I need to do, clean the house, work out, take the dog out. Like, he allowed me that time. And then now it's like, but it's that assignment that's what this is where he put me to be.
To level you
and
up.
No,
right.
I've been there. So with my husband, when I got comfortable and the Most High created change, I didn't like change, right? And you have to be careful with that, because when you don't want to do that, you could have to be careful with saying, if that's the Most High, like you telling the Most High, like, this, I don't want that. Like, I'm not gonna do that. And the Most High is saying, this is your assignment.
Yeah.
And you telling him, I'm comfortable where I'm at. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been through that. Right.
And I feel blessed. I know that where we're at right now is completely the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
But you have to be careful, because just like with me, every time it would happen, I'd be moved. Like, I didn't want to change. Like, I would be like, and I didn't, you have to realize that when you looking at stuff like that, you really not looking at it as being the Most High. It's like you're not having faith and trusting in him to the next move. And if that's how you feeling, it could happen again and again and again until you relinquish. It's your will, Lord. You know, comfortable, whatever. It's just like my husband told me, you might not like everything. He didn't like dialysis. He didn't like a lot of stuff. It doesn't mean you should change your disposition. You don't have to like everything, right? Everything don't have to feel good.
Yeah.
But you don't have to change your disposition toward the Most High or your husband,
and you
right?
You ain't gonna keep a knife to God's throat talking about, I ain't gonna do right because I'm uncomfortable.
Right. Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Don't be stuck in your delay.
And then you gotta continue to tell yourself, because you've been through things, and that's why we were talking about, it's like, you know what you've been through, right? Especially in the game and all these things, you know how you maneuvered, you know how you was able to do these different things, and you have to understand that that was also preparing you for this level, right? Preparing you to understand that that's nothing. I done been through this. I done been through this change. The enemy is trying to tell you this is exotic. This is abnormal. Won't you just stay here? It's comfortable, right? To keep you from moving when the Most High wants you to move, right? And you over here like, I remember when I used to be like, he'd be like, okay, doing such and such. And I'd be like, oh, well, I want to put up a fight first, and then after I want to be okay. It's not okay to the Most High. He wants you to be in a place where when I move, you move. Just like that, right? Not when I move, then you question my move and you don't believe, and then you want to believe way after the fact, or you go through it, not believing, but you gonna go through it with a bad attitude, right? He wants you to know that it's him, and he wants you to move with him, not against him, right? And he wants you to be able to enjoy the blessing. He wants you to know, just as comfortable as you was over there, just trust me, right? Just believe and trust me over here while I'm moving, right? And I could say that because I done went through that so many times, right? I'd be like, oh, okay, and then, I'll be go through it, but a lot of times I wasn't able to enjoy the blessing, even though I was able to go through it, right? Because I might not have liked it, but my disposition changed. And the Most High is saying, I don't want your disposition to change, because if it changes, that means you don't believe me, right? You don't have faith and you don't trust my process. And he wants you to trust his process, right? And he wants you to believe, right? And then stop telling yourself that you are that old person. You got to start speaking the life of the Spirit of the Most High in you, in the Holy Ghost, to deter that from you from being that same person. You got to say, I'm not that, right? I am this over here. I'm new. I'm the new creature, right? I'm remnant. I'm the holy remnant. I'm not the indoctrination. But you always keep going back to, yeah, I'm still indoctrinated. I'm still indoctrinated. Because you speaking that out of your mouth. Remember, my husband just told me, yeah, we fall. But remember, we have the grace to get back up. Don't change your disposition, right? And that's different than you going through something and you changing your disposition and being angry at the world and God and your husband and everybody because everything ain't going the way Cassie wanted to go.
And I just want to be transparent. It's not like I'm walking around sad
It
and
don't
angry
matter,
and
even if it's
know.
one or two times. You can't afford it.
Yeah.
Because the one time, it's like we were saying, the 3-5 months can go by and you good, and then all of a sudden your disposition changes. Just like we were talking about appreciation. How about your appreciation to the Most High when everything is going good out there? As soon as you move and everything is changed, then your disposition changes toward the Most High because you didn't appreciate what he did.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it clear, like I'm
right?
crying, tearing up. I don't even know
Because
why, but clearly,
because you
it's
got
like,
clarification and clarity on your behavior. We've all got it. I've gotten it. And it's necessary because that's what the Holy Ghost does. He gives us clarity with the truth. And if you understand the truth, then it'll make you look at yourself and operate differently, because that's what it's supposed to do, right? Just like we were saying earlier in the beginning of class, people operate because they don't have the information. And some people operate like that even when they have the information. Remember, we talk about the different soils and the ears that the information can fall on, So be the one where the information falls on the ears where you're going to produce, and not allow and continue that indoctrinated behavior that you keep putting on yourself, and know who you are and operate in that and rebuke the enemy trying to tell you that you're in the indoctrination. You are a woman of the Most High God. Operate as such and fall in line under instruction. Right? All praises.
All praises.
I just wanted to say something real quick. It's very important for us to know who we are, especially as remnant women, right? Because there's been times where I would have my falls, and I had to realize something, not reaching back to that old person. Because when I look at myself now, or when we look at ourselves now, we're going through the process, and as the Most High is showing us who we are, right? That new woman, not that indoctrinated woman, right? That old person that I was, she wouldn't know what to do in my position. Naya wouldn't know what to do in Queen's Naya's position. Right? So we have to realize that, like, we can't be reaching back. But although it's something where my husband would say that where people are predisposed to go back to their old ways, right? Or things that they're used to doing. And sometimes we do that when we're in situations. We reach back to that old person. It's like I was saying earlier, oh, what would that other person do? What would I would have done before, right? But we have to really let that person die off, because they would not know what to do in the position as a remnant woman, right? And that's where those falls come in at, because you going back to, it's like taking advice from somebody who never been in a situation before, right? So keeping that in mind, because that's something that has helped me, right? Not going back to not falling, or going back to those old spaces of certain attitudes that I would have, or not liking something, and going back to those spaces of like that. My thing I will always do would be shutting down or something, but just anything, right? That old person would carry, right? But just really letting that person die off and shed, and just knowing, okay, well, who is this new person? This remnant woman, right? And just holding on to that, clinging on to that, and operating in that, right? And trusting that, because at the end of the day, we all chose to be here. Nobody dragged us here, right? To be in our position. Nobody forced us here. We all chose to want to be everything that we can be in the remnant, right? To our God, right? So, yeah, just wanted to say that.
Cassie. There's no care, needs, or wants,
Yeah.
right?
And I know that.
And you know
It's
this.
not-
But
yeah,
not only
it's
that, just operating like you don't have the information. That's
Yeah.
different. Like when we're operating like we don't have the information, right? That's the not being appreciative, because that's changing your disposition. It's like you have the information, you're not in the indoctrination anymore. You have the information not to be there. And that's where I chose to do that. Like when you chose to go from the information to the indoctrination, that thing right there, that clash, that's what you be feeling. Like that fall. That's the fall. But when you get back up, you got to understand that's not you. That was that person that chose to do that. That was the indoctrinated person. When you got back up, you back, and you got to forgive yourself and move on, and not continue to call your. That's why I keep saying that, because you keep sticking with the fall, right? You're sticking. Me too. The impact of the fall can make you feel horrible. It's supposed to, but it's supposed to give you that righteous indignation to get up and go, not to stay there and wallow like in self-pity, or I did this or I did that. It's for you to move, right?
Yeah, well, I think about it because I'm trying to get on top of it.
Right.
So it just plays and plays, and I'm like, what do I need to learn from this? And I didn't really think about it when he had said, why didn't you ask anybody for help?
Mm-hmm.
And my first thing was like, that wasn't even a thought. Should I have asked for help?
Right.
Yeah, probably. So it's like, it's in the just being, when I'm like, well, I got to do. On April 13th, he's like, well, you're going to work. Why didn't you take the day off? Whatever. Like, that's my assignment, is to go to work. That's what I'm doing right now. It wasn't let me take the day off, but I'm like, should I do? Should I be? I think that's where, when I want to just,
When you're working, you're being.
yeah.
The being is you going out of character. The not being is being out of character. You being is doing everything, whatever you do within that. The you changing is not being. Your disposition changing is you not being. Not you working, you're getting it mixed up, right? You're comparing, like I said, the work from yesterday to the work today, and you're trying to make it the same, because for some reason you're feeling the same. It's not the same. It's because you keep separating you and greatness. You supposed to be one. You're not supposed to be separated. It's okay for you to feel like women, we always, and you need to get this, because you keep going back here. You keep separating you and greatness's work together, like the bills, the taking care of this, the doing that. When again, women are always concerned about bills, this, that, and the other, and all that, right? Like, how we gonna handle this? How we gonna make ends meet? Men be like, look, hey, it's gonna happen. If that's your job, then that's your job. But it's not. It just so happened to be it's not my job. So I don't have to sit back and worry about how bills are going to be getting paid and what's being delegated where. That's not my responsibility, and I don't think it's yours either. Right? Is it? Of how bills get paid? Solely? Solely, it's your responsibility of how bills get paid.
I have also taken on that responsibility where I'm like, I want to make sure that things get paid. But yeah, it is. So that's.
Is it
But-
her responsibility how bills get paid?
Right.
Or to pay the bills?
Right.
It's two different things.
Right.
Well,
Taking care of bills and how they get paid.
yes.
So where does the worry and the doubt and the concern come from when you think things are not being met on time?
I think,
Because you were like that before.
yeah, because we'd be down to zero and rent's due in 2 days, you know, that type of thing.
Okay, but wait.
But it's not like that at the moment. But then it was like, you know, the bonus was getting a little short in this, and I want to be able to do for my husband or be able to make it to where, you know, it isn't a thought or a question. Like, we have the things that we need. It's just there, like toilet paper, everything's just
Right.
to where it's not even a thought for him, you know,
Making it comfortable for him.
but I put that on myself too, because if I'm feeling that responsibility of I don't want him to have to worry or think about those things.
Well, I can't.
She's a man.
If it was put on her and it was made her responsibility, then that's different. But there is a difference in the indoctrination in being over here underneath the Most High God, where you shouldn't have worry, doubt, and fear about anything.
That's why I was saying, because the Most High has always made it happen. Where yes, my husband as well, but being able to put that faith 100% on the Most High, that even if I don't see any way and I don't got any money in my pocket, still it's gonna be okay. You
How long
know,
was it, honey, how long was it when you were just working?
I worked. In the beginning I worked, and I worked off and on up until 2007, and then I haven't had a job since then.
No, but I was saying there were times that I wasn't working. There was
Yeah.
time when I was on dialysis, that I couldn't work. I was on dialysis, right? And she did what she needed to do. I might have got some Social Security checks coming in because I was sick, right? And she did what she was supposed to do. You know, there were times that we had to be in the shelter. That was very uncomfortable, right? And did what we needed to do.
I just want to say
Hold on.
one thing that kept you going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm saying that,
I thought you were doing something.
no, I'm saying that life will come with different turns and switches and everything, right? But as difficult as those things were, I'm glad I had somebody that could acquiesce to whatever we was going through, right? And I never forgot whatever she was to me, because she hasn't worked since 2007 at all, right? And she ain't. I got it, right? Naya's my new wife. She ain't gonna, you know. All I'm saying is that it wasn't always convenient, and it wasn't always easy, and everything wasn't always. There were times that things were completely against everything that I wanted. Completely. I used to say that, God, I'm going to name this perfect trouble. Perfect trouble for me. Like, you know everything that I dislike, and you made sure that everything I dislike happened. This is perfect trouble. You catered this trouble for me. And he was gonna see if it was gonna make me change on him. And not only if it was gonna make me change on him, if it was gonna make Dove change on me. And she never did. Never made me feel less than because I couldn't work. Never made me feel that I wasn't her champion. Never one time made me feel that way. And never ever felt the pressure of, this is the difference between you and Dove right now, of the stress that I gotta make this happen. Because both of us know the Most High will have to make this happen, and we'll just do what we can do.
Yep.
We both knew Most High was gonna have to make it happen, but we will just do what we can do. Right? Because whatever it was, it just was. We've been in all kind of situations, but we never took God out of the equation. We always know this was allowed for a purpose, and He had us. And we was conscious about our assignment in that situation, that we was gonna make it through this. You want us to go through this? We're gonna go through it. My disposition towards you, God, is not gonna change, and Dove's disposition towards me never changed.
And I see that. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, baby.
And I see that as important because I was just thinking, you know, when a woman is in a situation where she's just because she's doing, it's easy for that independent mindset to come back in because, well, I have to take care of this and I have to take care of that. So then it that just clicks back in. So it's like even with Dove, had she not been careful and put the Most High in that equation, she could have went back to that mindset of, because I'm working, I have to do this, I have to take care of that. That independent mindset could have came back in, and she could have been operating in a way to where there could have been an attitude change, right? So that's another thing in the indoctrination, because women feel like because they're in a situation where they're not in a position where they don't have to do anything, or if they're because they're having to contribute and work and do these things, it's like, because I'm having to do, I have to also think about this and that, right? And it's like going back to that thinking for self in a way, you know, and not thinking about it's like, what is that word for it? That collaboration with your husband, right? And still, although I'm doing this and I'm having to still take care of what needs to be taken care of on my end, still making sure that I'm coming back to communicate and making sure that everything is taken care of, right? But not allowing that that single woman mindset to still creep in, because I can see how that can easily be that, right? Especially when you take the most high out of the equation and you're just looking at your situation and what you're having to do. You know, it's like it's going back to that doing instead of just being. You know, okay, the Most High allowed this. There'll be a time, maybe there, whatever, but just keeping Him in the equation and making sure that I'm gonna still go through this with a good attitude. I'm not gonna shift, and I'm gonna still make sure that my husband is included in whatever, you know, decision making, everything. You know, making sure that y'all on the same page. And it's not saying that this is what you would do or you make a decision. There's been times where I've been in that situation where I will make a decision first, then tell my husband, and then there will be a clash there, right? Because I didn't go to him for, I didn't trust him in that decision making, pretty much, right? I thought I could have done something on my own and made something work on my own when really it was just the wrong move, period, right? So just, having to be careful of that overall, because that I can see how it's so easy for that mindset, that thought process to sneak in like that, you know? Yeah.
There was one distinction that you made when you were talking. So you kept talking about how I have to make it happen, I have to do this. And then the distinction that I heard was when you said, and him too. So you separated yourself from your husband entirely in that state, whether you intended to or not.
That's what I said.
And so when you speak like that, it's because you're operating like that, because how you are is what's going to come out. What's in there is going to come out. So when you say, I got to do this, even if that's where you're positioned in your marriage, that is still you and him. It's not, even if it's, I got to make sure the bills are paid. You guys have to make sure the bills are paid. It's not, you can't separate it and say him too. When you say him too, you separate him from you and your marriage. You're separate and you are independent in that moment. So just make sure you don't look at it as if I got to do. You got to release that, because it's you and him. No matter whose job, which one is the wheel, which one's the steering wheel, the door, the whatever it is, the hand, the foot, whichever one, you guys are one. So when you say him too, it's as if he's separate from the relationship, from the marriage.
This is something we've continuously tried to be cohesive on. This comes up all the time. So obviously there's a reason why this happened right now.
Because the Most High wants you to exercise submitted.
Yes.
That disposition right there.
Yeah.
Independent woman disposition. He's allowing them conditions so that you can exercise keeping that submitted. Because it's a problem. It keep coming up.
That's what I was gonna say.
Says, it rears ugly head. So it's coming up, and the Most High making you put it back down.
So I was gonna say to what Naya said is, remember I said in the beginning I had already submitted myself to him. My submission and obedience was straight from the beginning. I already knew who he was, and I knew my role, right? And I know my role is to follow instruction.
Go before that. The real big issue you guys are ready for, the real issue here, that I can sum it up, right, is you did something that you've never stopped doing. Well, you might have periodically, but you believed me.
Right.
See, that's
Right.
where it all stems.
I was gonna say that.
You believed me, and you continue to believe me.
Right. And that's what I was going to say from the beginning. There was no change, no matter what, because I did believe my husband, and I believe everything he said. I believe everything he did, and I believed what he told me to do. So it wasn't a question of me feeling like he was wrong. There was never even a thought of that. It was like, okay, whatever my husband tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do, right? Whatever we're into.
The primary is we fight the good fight of faith. We go from
Faith to faith.
The primary is how the culture is set up. The just shall live by faith.
And
right?
faith alone,
So
yes.
she's having the anxiety because her lack of belief.
Right.
She don't believe him.
Right.
I was talking to Naya yesterday. I was asking her about her little teenage boyfriend, and we could talk about it. And she wasn't committed to him. She loved him. Right?
And it's because when I was just thinking, what I told you last night is because in certain ways that I would operate towards him, or I would just have my freedom in that relationship, is because I didn't believe him.
That's what she told me.
It would just be words with no action. So I'm like, well, at a point in time, I would have liked to believe him, but it was just so many words with
no action,
just empty words. And it got to a point where it's like, I don't believe you. So I'm gonna be here because it's like an escape place for me to go to when I didn't want to be at home. But once I was at a place where I confidently did not believe him, it was like, it was over.
She left herself. She was open to other people.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm saying that the key here is how the culture is structured. Unless you believe, you will in no way be established. Those who haven't put away faith have made shipwreck. You can't walk this walk without it.
Right.
She never stopped believing. And anytime that during these 28 years that she struggled there, very few times things start going downhill immediately. You have to believe. She believed me. Right? It's like I told Naya, do you believe me? Yes, unequivocally. I believe you. And anybody that I've dealt with, they believed me.
Right.
If a woman don't believe a man, just like Naya said with a little boyfriend,
Mhm.
she was open to other things.
Yep.
Because after a period of time, the words became inconsistent to what he
Yeah.
was able to show up in.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, because I keep hearing what you don't have, that's the enemy. What you do have, you's a married woman now.
Mm-hmm.
You manage a whole apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are together moving forward. You have a family of people who love you, look to you. We travel the country together. Oh my God. Look at what he has brought you from. Look at who you are. Look at the status that you have amongst your culture. Don't let the enemy rob you and blind you from what the Most High is giving you, because you will lack appreciation. You will lack power. You will lack it. Because the scripture, our culture says the joy of the Lord is our strength.
Yeah. Most definitely.
And when you remember where he brought you from, if that don't give you joy, nothing can.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yes, all
Nothing
praises.
can.
Come on. Yep.
When I was in the shelter, it was like a mansion to me, because I've been in a prison cell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's always something that I could look at my condition different than how the world is looking at the condition. Don't let the enemy trick you out of what God has given you and placed in your hands, and showed you his love for you, showed you your faithfulness in the way you come thus far, and what he's delivered to you. Don't forget the miracles that have happened for you guys.
Right.
Don't forget your story.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget your story. In politics, they always say a candidate got to have a story. That's why Obama was so powerful, because of his story. Don't forget your story, girl. I'm not dealing you with kid mittens. I know who you are. I speak to the great Cassie inside of you.
All praises.
I don't know that other person. Show up to your husband like that, not to the leader. I don't think one spits about any of those things. I look at the great Cassie.
That the new name? The Great Cassie?
Great Cassie.
The Great Cassie. Greatness in the Great Cassie. Greatness in the Great Cassie. All right. Step into it. Woo. The Great Cassie. Wow. Wow.
Just for transparency, do I look worried right now?
No.
Does she look worried right now?
Oh, no.
I said that because earlier you said the rent will be due in 2 days and you had $0. Rent was due today. It's $0. We're just not worried.
And to add to that, I didn't pay rent all March. And none of my kids know that. And something just came through and I was able to pay rent. Never worried.
I just rent for 1 month.
Both months. I paid rent for March and April.
Just
Praises.
After not paying.
because we know our
praises.
God. We know our God. Well, what would it be if he didn't send us through the test? He wouldn't love us.
But
Most
this is faith
definitely.
around
This is the
here.
thing, though. She didn't experience all that.
I know that.
Yeah.
She didn't went through all that.
But we talking about the right now, the showing up to the situation right now.
We're talking about remnant faith to faith. We're not
Yeah.
talking about
That's right.
indoctrinated worry because you know you don't know where it's coming from.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
ain't no
We
guarantee.
did not know. We got guarantees. Come on, April 13th. That's right. Hey, that's right.
Hey, where I'm at right now is come on, because
Right.
you know, hey, yeah,
And that reminds me of,
The great
yeah, Cassie the Great.
yeah, that's sticking. That's sad. That's sad.
The Holy Ghost gave it to her.
Okay.
We had a conversation yesterday.
What
Was it
happened?
yesterday?
Or
2 days ago.
we had a conversation.
What was
Yeah.
it?
I'm saying she was like, who are you talking about? I think we was talking about boss, and the Holy Ghost give a name. You know what I'm saying? And she said,
I said Mr. Consistent.
Mr.
Mr. and Mrs. Consistent. Rafa and Kiana.
Rafa and Kiana. Yeah.
They stay strong now.
So then Cassie was like, and then I asked her, I said, what was your name? And she said,
I said, I'm the baker.
Baker Cassie.
Cassie.
That's what you do.
That was the correction.
That's just what you do.
Came through with the Holy Ghost Lolo, like, nope.
Yeah. There you go. Cassie the Great.
Just that full circle moment right there.
That's powerful.
That's beautiful.
That's powerful. All praise.
Uncle had said something over the weekend when we were together, right, in the living room.
You gotta give it to Julie after.
Okay, he had said something, and what'd he say? That work without a need, right? Working without labor without a need, work without need, right? And that's so true, because in the indoctrination, I was always just like you, worried about how we're going to get it next, or I want this, I need this, right? But now, making a lot less than what I used to, being in the lifestyle, cruising without a need, right? And just knowing and trusting in the Most High that everything's going to get taken care of, and just knowing and operating and just being in that mindset of, yeah, I know I'm doing this, but I don't have no need, and I'm going to work with no need. And it just reminded me of what you were talking about right now, about what you said on Saturday, Uncle. And so that was beautiful, working without a need.
Yeah,
Let that stick with y'all out there, okay?
Yeah, you gotta remember the test gonna come back around, Cassie Boo, to see if you still got that in you. You got to show up. You gotta show up. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going back to you, world." You got to show up, Cassie Boo. Cassie the Great. Yeah,
Cassie the Great. Ooh.
Daughter Julia Boo.
Hey everybody. Sorry, these lights be bugging me. So with everything that was just being said, like, it just brought so much clarity, and that's the beauty about, us being all together and having this night. Cuz I can definitely say I've still, even in this relationship that I'm in right now, I see myself still bringing in that indoctrinated person, woman, or person, and female, yeah, there you go, indoctrinated female, into this relationship, because I was so used to acting like that in my old relationships. And like, it just recently too, like, I feel like I was operating like that. And again, babe, I just want to say I'm sorry and I apologize for that. And so, like, I'm gonna break it down. So, like, with me, like, in my old relationships, I was very much like, I'm gonna do it my way. It's my way or the highway, right? Also, because it was given to me with with my old relationship that I was with, where he created that space too for me to act like that, right? So I kept that with me, and sorry, I'm trying to think, but I kept that with me on doing what I want, because that's just what I want to do, right? And in the past, I've operated like, very, I wouldn't say I was independent too much, but like, in the beginning, with my old relationship I was in for like 4 years, in the beginning of that relationship, there was um there was what is it? Yeah, instruction, right? So I was in lifestyle, right? So with that, in the beginning of the relationship, it was structure, it was instructions. And in the beginning, I was like, okay, yeah, I like this. Like, I like being submitted to somebody, and I'll do, like, you know, giving instructions, right, and doing what I need to do to make sure we're good, because we're a partnership, right? And when it got broken, when that whole trust got broken, I started operating like, okay, now I'm gonna like kind of do what I want to do, and that could look like even going behind his back, and he's doing certain things and I'm doing my own thing, and I'm trying to sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to think about exactly what it was that we did a lot, but more so the what it can look like for me was, okay, he wasn't on top of his stuff, so I'm just gonna end up getting my money on my own or whatever it can look like, right? Him telling me certain things and I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. Like, you're not gonna tell me what to do. That kind of mindset too, that I had in my past relationships. And now it's like it created that brokenness in our relationship where we don't trust each other, because I'm doing what I want to do, and he stopped telling me certain things. He gave up, like, okay, I'm done. If that's what you want to do, then that's just what it is, right? You're gonna operate like that. That's who you're gonna be. That's who you want to be. Okay, that's cool. So I'm continuing to do that, and so I'm saying this to say, because I can see myself. I see myself in my relationship now, bringing in that indoctrinated person of more so not doing what I want to do, but not, in a sense, not listening, right? So that is doing what I want to do. So yeah, I'm operating in that doing what I want to do just because, right? And now it's creating a space where it's like my partner's like, can I even trust you? Right? Yes, you can.
Why are you not doing what he tells you to do?
So there goes that.
Okay, hold on. I didn't know nothing about you guys at the beginning. I didn't know how it happened until you guys told me. I thought it was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, I gotta say that first before I say what I'm gonna say. So he chose you, you chose him.
Mm-hmm.
I vouched for you though after the fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you.
Right.
Right? Not because I thought you was a charity case. But because I know the quality of individual that you are. Show up to do that. Don't let my word fall to the ground.
Okay.
Don't let my word fall to the ground. Okay?
Right.
Manaz reminds me of me. I tell him all the time, you remind me of me, man. Because everybody cannot, they don't have the room in them to contain what he's containing here. How dare you not understand what God is giving you and operate with excellence towards him?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's the kind of man this is. I said he's like me. In his capacity. All these really men are like me, for sure.
Right.
But specifically in his capacity. Like my capacity when Dove came to me. Right? Everybody don't have that kind of capacity. Right? And God gave you specifically what he wanted you to have. It's what about man. This is the Holy Ghost instituting everything he's instituting. Don't blow that. It's ridiculous. She didn't.
Disobedient to the Most High God.
No, hold on, Dove. She didn't. She saw the opportunity. And when we got together, I had that dream that Dove was running after me. I was flying in the dream, which means faith. She was running after me, you know the dream, and she was going all over pitfalls and dangers and snakes and running over all of them, oblivious to the danger, because she seemed to value, and in her mind I could see, I don't even see this, all I see is this here, and I'm not about to let that get away. And when I seen her, I seen the danger. She didn't. I came down, picked her up, and she flew with me. That was her disposition. It was her faith and belief in me, right? And her understanding of my capacity.
Right.
Understand the capacity, the kind of man that you have. The reason why my son, who you were in a relationship with, right? The real reason why he has the biggest problem, he might not say it, is because he wouldn't have had that capacity. He didn't have the capacity when it was just you and him.
Right.
And God, in front of his face, showed him a greater man. And how can this man, who didn't have the capacity, can see the greater man, and you can't? And you can't say you can see him and you lose appreciation, like in the class, because appreciation is consistent.
Right.
You can be upset and all, that's nothing. But if you lose appreciation to this one here, it's ridiculous. Woo. It's ridiculous. You think another one of them's coming? No. Straighten up, handle your business, daughter, with excellence, because that's what I vouch with you about. This one, I told him, you can build an empire with this one. This one here, you can build whatever empire you want to build with this one. You're going to let that word fall to the ground?
No.
Well, handle your business, daughter.
Yeah.
This one right here.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah. Ooh. So yeah, thank you for that. I needed that. I really did need to hear that. Because I'm just sitting on it as everything's just transpiring as well, you know. And yeah, you're right. Dang. Just valuing what I have, and it's definitely like the scripture says too. Like, you know, you can tear down your household as well, you know, with your own hands. I'm not about to be a foolish woman around here. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not about to do that. So, yeah, thank you for that. I needed that. There was also, I love you guys too. There was also something I wanted to say too that I see outside of, you know, in the indoctrination too, right? Like the way it just carries with people, and like I want to say like my friend, she's very like she's very independent, but she always craves like a man, right? So like she wants that, she just can't find that because she doesn't value herself as well. She thinks like that she has that mindset, I don't need a man, I want a man, but I don't need one, right? And I see how that is tearing her down as well. Like that whole mindset of not needing a man is so, it's so naive. Like it's naive because like Cassie was saying too. Was it Cassie? Yeah, I think it was Cassie, right? Was it either Janet, but it's like women in the lifestyle, right? When we're in the lifestyle, there's some women out there who are like, well, I can do what, you know, I don't need it. I can do it without a man, right? I can do it without a man. And you see it, and yeah, they're somewhat flourishing, but inside they're dead because it's like they have no structure, right? So I'm saying that to say you can tear yourself down like that. And the Most High didn't make a man and a woman for nothing. There's a purpose behind that, right? And I think women need to value that, and I myself, again, need to appreciate and value that, because the man I have, the Most High gave him to me, and yeah.
I just wanted to say that we have to remember too, in the indoctrination, there's no expectation of understanding what we're talking about. So I know your friend, and we have to remember in the indoctrination, there's different types of relationship where people are going through very abusive things and they allow it because remember, they feel like that's what they have to accept because of where they're at, right? And exactly. And what how many times did she go back to that until she finally left? And the independency comes from because of what I went through, I realized that there's things that I don't have to need in a person or I don't have to accept this from this person. I can work, you know, and we have to remember to separate independence from what I don't have to deal with a person because I'm in need. There's a lot of women who are with men because they feel like they need to be because they don't have a job. They feel like they can't take care of themselves. They might have kids. Somebody might be helping them. So there's different reasons why women stay in relationships that they don't have to stay in, right? And when your friend found out that, okay, I was staying with him because I have kids by him and I need to be there because he's either helping me or I need him or he's my kid's dad or whatever. Whatever. Women stay in relationships forever in a day trying to make something out of nothing because they feel like that's what they deserve. And she was being abused, right? So, I mean, then she found out, okay, I can actually get a job and I don't have to be with him just for money because he's my kid's dad. So that is different from being independent. That is, I can take care of myself and my kids' needs. Not that she doesn't want a man. She wants a man. She don't want that kind of man, right? Because she's been abused. So it's like those are two different worlds, right? Those are two different worlds from being independent to being taken care of, right? I want a man, but I don't want an abusive man, right? Or now a remnant woman want a remnant man, right? Because they know what that comes with. So I wanted to say that because we have to be careful about thinking it's wrong for a woman to work, take care of herself or her kids. That's totally different from feeling like she's being independent. Independent is somebody who's not going to be controlled by somebody else or let somebody feel like if they allow a man to come in like he can't control what I do or how I operate or whatever, that's independent. That is, you might as well be by yourself because you're not looking for a man. You want a little boy, right? So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm still digesting what you just said. Good evening, y'all. I think I want to start off by saying when I thought of when we came up with the topic or it was presented to us, independent woman, the first thing I thought was loneliness. How lonely my experience is, very lonely. And also I thought about my mom as well. And my mom, I love my mom. I really do. But for my whole life, she's been by herself. And just growing up and seeing that and just seeing how her life is, she's such the type of woman she is, she's so, because of her past experiences, because of her past relationships and how she's been through a couple of just a tough upbringing, kind of a lonely upbringing too. But also in her relationships, they've been, some of them were abusive. And so that like just drove her to when she got older, she was just so okay being alone. She was okay because I think she was just very scarred from that. And so just seeing how her life been, she's a very complacent woman. She's very comfortable with just, she's lived the same place her whole life, same type of job her whole life, just very comfortable. She's okay with the day on just sitting on the couch and watching TV. She just wants peace. That's at the end of the day, she just wants peace. But for me, seeing that my whole life and just seeing how independent, even her talking about like men and everything, how like, oh, you know, you don't need them, honey. You don't like they're just they smell like dirt. Like she was just telling me that when I was a kid. And I'd be like, huh? Okay. But just seeing that, I think I've always had like a grudge for me, like inside of me against her because I just always thought to myself, like, don't you want more? Like, don't you want to do new things? Maybe try dating again this time? Like, now you're older, you know better now and everything. Like, don't you want something more for yourself? So I've always like got upset with her about that because I'm like, because she used to joke around saying like when we get older, she's just gonna live with one of us. I have 3 sisters. I mean, I have 2 sisters, including me. She just would say like, she don't need a man. She just live with one of us. And I used to look at her like it won't be me, because definitely want more for myself. I don't want this lifestyle. So a lot of my life, I've always told myself I did not want to be like my mom. I did not want to be that independent maverick spirit that's in my family. I didn't want that for myself. And I grew up just thinking that. So I've always like wanted something different. I wanted to get married. I wanted to do all that. But then where the independent woman, you should say, in me, it's like a back and forth experience I've had. So one part of me, I really wanted to push the idea of being independent because I've always told myself I do want to be with somebody. I don't want to be by myself. I want to be dependent on a man. I don't want that. But then just my environment and just growing up in the small town I did and just thinking about I didn't think much for myself for my future. So I allowed myself to trap myself into this mindset, especially social media too. Like we were talking about earlier, it like the single life and everything, you're supposed to be okay with being by yourself and everything. That's just all I was seeing. And so I would force myself in my head to be okay with, like, I'm going to be alone when I'm older. I'm going to be alone. That's fine. It's okay. Although in my spirit, in my soul, it just fought that every time. That I did not want that. But I would force myself to think that that was for me. That was going to be for me because I'm seeing everyone else. They're okay with being by themselves. Why can't I be okay with by myself? Why can't I do this and that? But then I've always had like that thought, like, I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want that. I do not. So just going into relationships, going into being interested in men and everything. And just now with that, I would get hurt constantly over and over emotionally. So emotionally, I became very independent. Because of just guys telling me, don't be dependent on me. You're only going to get hurt and everything. And then I would get dependent and then get hurt and just all those things. So, emotionally, I was very independent, and that would drag for so long. Even when I've met my now husband, at first we didn't start off boyfriend, girlfriend, or anything. We didn't start off liking each other. We started off just having fun with each other. And just doing things and just doing stuff together. Even though that's what I thought. But then it was just very confusing. I'm going to say that. Very confusing. The liking part didn't, like, saying the liking part, like, actually say. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just say that. So, yeah. Yeah. So, just being around him, that came out even more. Oh, and even before I met him, there was a relationship I got into. And, there's a back and forth in me, like, I should be okay with being alone, but then I don't want to be alone. So there was a person I met, and it was such a weird relationship because I later found out he was Muslim, and we had to be like secret in a way, because of his religious family and everything, and how just that was a whole thing itself. And I know for myself at that time, I was not with religion. That was not for me. But because I just so in my head, I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be independent, that independent woman. I settled for that. I forced myself to think about. We used to talk about having a family in the future and stuff like that. Forcing myself to like the idea of if I'm gonna be with him, and he would say this, if I'm gonna be with him and stuff like that, you're gonna have to convert to Muslim, except to Islam. And I was so against it, but I was like, because I thought at the time, because I love him, I would do that and everything, which is the wrong move. It was just because I didn't want to be alone. I really didn't. So I would settle for stuff like that, be in a secret relationship, seeing him for a few times a month, for just all of that. I would settle for that. And so just moving along, getting out that relationship, which crushed me at the time, it was like, I'm definitely going to be alone for sure. And that's when I try to really hard pound it. Even meeting my husband now, I used to think about the idea so much, even harder. I'm going to be alone, because I was positive. He made it very clear to he did not want a relationship. He didn't want to do any of that. When he first met me, he would say all I want to do is learn how you think and react and do all that. That was his first voice message the first day I met him. So I just knew he wasn't with all that. So, and I wasn't even sure if I was with all that as well as though I thought. And I would just think,
Plot twist.
yeah, plot twist for sure. But just thinking about how, it's okay, whatever we're doing, I guess that's just fun. And we're just gonna be doing this, I don't know how long, until he's gone. So I'm okay with, again, thinking in my mindset, I'm gonna be alone. I'm an independent woman. I still could be this free spirit, whatever you guys call it. Well, that's what I used to call it in the world. I want to be free spirited. I want to be independent. I want to do my own thing. So that's all okay. That's fine. Or just all that. Or I could be the fun auntie, the family. I don't need to have kids or anything. It's fine. I'm okay by myself. But that really was just, it was such a lonely, telling yourself that's such a lonely spot. It's so dark there. And I know there's a lot of females in the world like that too. And the thing that got me out of that, obviously, it's this information, because again, when I think about my future, I just shut it all down. I was just so strict on that mindset. So I really was just kind of killing myself with that in a way too. But once I got this information, everything changed. I would have never thought, again, I think I said this numerous times in multiple testimonies so far, I would have never thought I would be with somebody. I never, even that little thing, it still amazes me. It amazes me because I'm telling you, I was so that was just my mindset. That literally was it. I didn't think more for myself at all. And I just want to say, whoever's out there and whoever's feeling like there's nothing more for you, for your future, and you're just, every night you're crying to yourself and you're thinking that you're just alone and you're hating yourself and everything, just really consider getting to these classes, because the Most High, He will move. He will move for you. I don't know why I'm about to cry. Whoa, okay. Stop. No, we're not trying to do that right now. But just the things He's done for me. Even I lived with my family my whole life. I haven't been on my own. Thank you. Living on my own. And I would think to myself, I would be stuck in that same, corner of my room for my whole life. I just thought I'd be stuck there forever. I didn't know how I was going to get out. It was just like a cycle. I was thinking, like, I'm going to be alone. I'm going to live alone. But I don't know. I really don't know. At the time, I didn't know. But I'm here talking to now maybe somebody who was like me. And I'm letting you know that it's not the end for you. It's not at all. Just get into these classes. Please, get into these classes. Because the Most High, He's real. He's real. He's there. Even though you don't think so, or you're not seeking Him right now, He's there. Seek Him. You need it. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna make this really quick. So from what I'm hearing right now, there is independent women in the world, but there are also different mindsets within an independent woman, especially when they all come from different ways of life, especially different relationships, different circumstances in their life, how they grew up, however whatever route they took to become what they are now, that independent woman with the specific mindset that they've developed within all that stuff that they went through. And I know that I have never really went through that, but something like that I did go through was a mode of depression. And that world was like me seeing nothing else but all of my emotions and stuff around me. And I would like to say that now that I'm in this information, the Most High has showed me, like, even though you went through all of that and you didn't see no light, you didn't see no way out, now you have a key to all the things that you go through. You have a way out, because you know you have information that will help you and develop you in your life, that will carry you and conquer anything that comes before you, because of what you know and because you operate off of what you know. So what I'm saying is, just because you may be an independent woman right now, just because you may have a certain mindset right now, if you do get into this information, you will start seeing ways out. You will no longer have to operate. You will no longer have to operate in that mindset anymore, because the Most High gave you a new mind. A new mind to operate in, a fresh, clean one that you will only operate in life and not death, not always choosing death, because everything eventually in the world, all the materialistic things die. They don't go with you eternally. But this new mind that the Most High will give you, this new mind that is not operating off of an independent woman's mind, will carry you for eternally. And I know that because a lot of the things that I've learned that I think that I forgot, I go through, and a situation comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember how to conquer this. And I'm like, oh yeah. And it's just simple. And I may need help sometimes, but that's just That's just life. Sometimes you need help. So don't just be that selfish and that selfish independent woman not seeking help from other people because you think that you can do it by yourself, because the help that somebody, that the one time that you will open your ear to this information or to somebody that has information that can help you will relieve you from all the things that you went through for years. Because one time, I'm gonna just tell y'all this quick story. I was in my class, my writing class, and this girl just started opening up to me. I didn't even know why. Like, my dad told me one time, well, I'm not even gonna say that, I'm gonna just tell the story. And she started that people will feel comfortable telling me things that they would never tell anybody else. And that actually happened because she told me that she only told one other person this, and it was that she went through a phase of depression as well, but it was because of someone who had passed away in her family. And a lot of that depression that I can see from when she was talking was because of the love and the things that she's expecting to get from her parents. She's expecting to get a lot of things from her parents. So I'm not just going to say, well, stop expecting things from them. That's why you're going through that. I had to take her through that whole world. I had to bring her into my world and show her with my eyes, give her a new pair of eyes on how to see things and conquer things. That's why. And not conquer things, but conquer that need of things from people, that expectation for people to give you things that you know you won't get. Because the more and more you expect things from people that you know they won't give to you, the more and more you will be let down. And that's something, I believe Dre talked about that before, or he just talked about expectation, period. But I learned that myself too, because I also went through things like that. And, yeah. And I told her that, and I was just and while I was taking her through there and I was taking her through that world, she was like, she literally looked at me like that. She was like, where'd you learn all this stuff from? Because on the outside, as a remnant, you can look like a regular person. But when somebody gets to know you, when you give them just a little bit of this information, they will see you ain't just a regular person. I'm not one to be played with. Because I got all the answers. I got all the answers that you need. You just need to have a listening ear. So what I'm saying for that independent woman is that you may be independent right now, but one day you have a listening ear for that remnant man or woman that's going to be talking to you. All your worries and stuff going to go away. All you had to do was open up your heart and stop being selfish and open up your heart to some new information that's not yours. So that's it.
All right. Whew. What a powerful, thank you, Karaya, 14-year-old Karaya Fire. All praises. We got some powerful women and powerful information, powerful knowledge. I just wanted to read this scripture as we going out. It's 1 Corinthians 11:11. Nevertheless, in the Most High, woman is not independent of man, nor is man independent of woman. For as woman came from man, so also man is born of woman, but everything comes from the Most High. And it was talking about, so looked it up, it's just the relationship and the balance between us, the Most High, and what order looks like. And so within the holy remnant, we're taught order. And when you go out of order is where the imbalance comes in, right? And then going back to that indoctrinated independence, it could be with men or women. We just so happen to be talking about women today. But just to bring that into context, because there is order, and order is most important because the Most High, the man, the woman, the children, so on, right? And as we go out, we praise the Most High for everything. We thank the Holy Ghost for his very presence in our life in Yahweh Shai's mighty name. Thank you for joining the Holy Remnant, the women of the Holy Remnant tonight in the Remnant Outreach. See you next first Wednesday. And we are here the first Wednesday of every month. Good night.